What's going on, everyone? Man, it's been a minute since I made a video in this format, but something interesting just came up, and it actually involves the older iPhones, and it's been a minute since I even talked about these older ones, specifically the iPhone 6s SE, the iPhone 7, and the iPhone 6s Plus. Now, you can also include the 7 Plus and maybe even the 6 and 6 Plus, but I'll get into that in a second. And basically what's going on, okay, is that Apple's in a very weird situation with the older iPhones specifically. Now, I was reading this article, and I don't really know who said it first. I'm reading this from CNBC, but it's also kind of news that we've seen for a while. So the title is Apple iPhone is in a difficult spot. And pretty much to synopsize these articles, they're pretty much stating that last year we only saw a drop of 3.2% in sales for iPhones, which is interesting because I thought it was way more than that. But this year we're expected to see a 12.4% decrease in sales of iPhones, which is pretty insane. I mean, that is a humongous drop in sales. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that quite possibly, because the newer iPhones are getting more expensive, it could kind of offset the profit margins and everything. So Apple's probably still not going to make as much money as their peak, but it's still, it's one thing to consider. I don't know if they're counting in the sales or the profits or just the iPhones that are sold. So that is one thing to keep in mind. But these articles and all of them are attributing that specific factor, the 12.4% in decrease, to the older iPhones, and this is why it's so crazy. And what they're saying specifically is that people are holding on to their iPhones much longer than they used to. So before, they used to just hold on to their iPhones for maybe 2 years, that's what the article stated, but now they're holding on to their iPhones for 4 years, which I think is a factor of many things. So I think the most important iPhone right now that probably led to this is the iPhone 6s and even the iPhone 6s Plus, but let's focus on this one. And this iPhone, like I've stated before, is such a strong contender. It's such a good phone, and I've stated this for so many years now. It is a very good mixture of price, value, and all that stuff. But one thing to keep in mind is that this phone potentially could be hurting Apple more than it's helping them right now. Mine's dead, but because this phone is so good, people aren't really seeing the need to upgrade. And because this phone is still supported by iOS, people are like, it's still a good phone. I don't want to feel like spending more money on another phone. So that is a huge reason why people are sticking to their older phones, not only because of performance and everything, but software support as well. Because Apple supports their phones for so long, at least so much longer than the competitors, that makes the people hold on to their phones so much longer. And even the 6s Plus, I owned the 6s Plus for many months, I don't think a year, but I found this phone to be very, very good as well. So of course, Apple's not going to change their ways. I'm pretty sure these phones, all these phones you see right here, are definitely going to get iOS 13 as well as the Plus versions and newer phones. I think the 6 and 6 Plus as well as the 5S are going to be cut out. And I'll probably talk more about that in tomorrow's video, but ultimately, I think it's kind of interesting that the whole thing right now is that people are holding onto their older phones even longer. And I think this is a huge reason why Apple is going to start dropping even more phones this year, is to make the people who are holding onto their phones so much longer to have a much more of a price range that they can go and profit from and possibly buy new upgraded phones from. So with them dropping like a 5.8 inch or 5.4 inch newer iPhone, they could potentially drop that price down to like $700 or something and make that more enticing to somebody to buy. That way somebody with like an iPhone 6s or 6s Plus be like, you know what, even though my phone's still supported, the newer one's not even that much more expensive, so I'm just going to go and buy that one. I know it's kind of a strange philosophy, but that's kind of a weird thing that's going on right now because Apple's in a very, very strange situation. And because they don't drop their phones all the time, they only drop them in the September event usually. That's why I'm also thinking they're going to start dropping more phones, just more products overall. And I said this even before this year. I was saying like Apple's going to drop a lot of products in 2019 to keep up for that profit margin and to make more money this year because they didn't do so good in 2018. So in order for them to increase iPhone sales, they will only have to increase the iPhone production and create more of a range for people to go and purchase their phones from. That's why I'm saying they probably end up going to making an iPhone SE 2 because they want to create that profit margin. They want to make more money, obviously, their company, and they're not going to do it by only dropping like 3 phones every year. Look at Samsung, they drop like 30 phones every month, and even they're still seeing a drop in phone sales. So it's not the end all be all, it's not the best answer, but at least it's going to help. I can only see it helping more than it's hurting. So that is a strange situation. More people holding on to their iPhones, so Apple's in the long run is losing money. But again, as long as they don't price the iPhones too high and they start ramping up production and make more iPhones, I only see them making more money. But also, I'm just a person on YouTube making videos. I'm not an Apple employee or anything. That is pretty much it. If you guys have any questions or anything, leave it down in the comment section below. Hit that like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it'll mean so much if you guys could hit that. Also, check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel, all those links are linked down below. I'd really appreciate it if you guys could check it out. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.